Here are 5 talking points from Manchester United's 2-2 draw with Spurs in the Premier League yesterday. Number 1, Highland Momentum. Now look, we've seen him score 2 goals in his last 2 Premier League games. Obviously he missed out in the Nottingham Forest game due to illness. But he scored against Spurs a brilliant goal yesterday after only 2 and a bit minutes. And obviously he got the winner against Aston Villa. Is he building a bit of momentum? You would like to think so. His work rate is always going to be there. We've seen it from basically the second he stepped out onto the pitch at Old Trafford that, the work rate and the enthusiasm is there for him. And we've spoken in depth over the last couple of weeks and couple of months about maybe the service that he's getting or the lack thereof. I think we've seen a real, I suppose, a real emphasis from Erik ten Hag to actually try and get more ball into him. And I think a lot of that has come from Garnacho going over onto that right-hand side. We know how, skillful Garnacho can be, and he likes to drive at fullbacks and he likes to go for goal himself. But in the last couple of games, we've seen an awful lot of Garnacho's game come, about getting the ball into the box and trying to find it. Trying to find Highland, who, continues to make moves. And look, it's an improvement. We've still got a long way to go to start, I suppose, trying to feed him the service that he really requires because he's starving up there. He really is. We've got Marcus Rashford on the other side who, tends to, he looked dangerous last night, but he was kind of running into dead ends an awful lot. His delivery into the box hasn't been spectacular either. So you would hope Rasmus Højlund is gaining a little bit of momentum. It's great to see him getting the goal that he scored. A really good goal, a real striker's goal and a bullet of a finish as well. I don't think Rasmus Højlund is going to want this break that we've got now where we haven't got a game for a couple of weeks because he's starting to build a little bit of momentum and score a few goals. He's going to want, the games to come thick and fast now and get involved and try and get a few more under his belt. But look, I do think he is going to score more goals between now and the end of the season. Whether he gets the amount of goals that we need to, I'm going to say a push for a top 4, but I think top 4 is probably too far away now. But we need to continue getting him the service because if we do, I think he will score more goals. The kid is not even 21 years of age yet. He's got plenty of time at United. But it's good to see him starting to get a few goals there. And maybe, at the very least, take away some of the negativity in the media around him not getting goals. Number 2, set pieces. Now, look, we know it was one of the first things that Erik ten Hag done when he took over at Manchester United was actually bring in a set-piece coach. Maybe some additional set-piece coaches, apologies. But it doesn't seem to have had the desired effect for Manchester United. We're one of the worst teams in the league in terms of conceding from set-pieces and also scoring our own set pieces. We've only scored 4 goals and we've conceded 7 from the set pieces against. Now, 4 goals scored is 17% of the goals we've scored this season. And basically, you should be anywhere between 30 and 40% of the set pieces that you've got, you should be scoring from, and we're nowhere near them statistics. And it doesn't seem to be working at all. I know we're not an overly big team, the likes of even Kobe Mainoo in the team, while he's young, doesn't have an aerial presence. Wan-Bissaka is tall, doesn't have an aerial presence, and you add that then to the likes of, Garnacho, Eriksen, Bruno Fernandes. These are all, relatively small players. We don't really have that physicality when it comes to set pieces. And it is something that we do have to improve and look at. The zonal marking issue doesn't seem to be working for me either. We've seen a very soft goal again last night where Spurs crowded the box. They really did. I think there was upwards of 12, 13 players in the box, in the 6-yard box at any given time in terms of them set pieces, and nobody really getting up and challenging for them. It's something that Erik ten Hag is going to have to look at because set pieces are a vital way of actually going out and getting goals. And when we're not creating an awful lot, from open play, and we're not, teeing up Rasmus Højlund or Marcus Rashford is having an off day or Garnacho's not getting on the ball, whatever it may be, you have to be able to use your set pieces to your advantage, and we're not doing it. We see Christian Eriksen continue to take corners. He cannot beat the first man, and that's just not at Manchester United. He's been doing that throughout his whole career. I don't know how he's still on corners. And you look at how Spurs took their corners last night. They were fantastic. Pace, the perfect height on him, putting him in the danger area. We need to improve because it's a vital area that you can go out and get some good goals and put some points on the boards because of it. And we're just not doing it at the moment. Number 3, Erik ten Hag's in-game management. We've spoke about this a few times so far this season, that Ten Hag has made mistakes. He really has. And, while I am, I back Erik ten Hag. I want him to be Manchester United manager. I want him to be successful. I think he can be. He's not helping himself in some situations. And last night was no different. I think the substitutions he made last night just baffled me. They really, really did. Now, look, obviously, the first... on 58 minutes, Christian Eriksen comes off for Scott McTominay when you've got Casemiro on the bench. Now, I understand Casemiro might not be match ready, and Erik ten Hag sees an awful lot more of him behind the scenes in training. He knows an awful lot more than us as the fans. We're not at training sessions. We don't know, how sharp a player is, how ready he is, how available he's going to be for a game. But I think if you're fit enough for the bench, you should be fit enough to come on and play some part in the game. And I think the easy solution last night for Manchester United was to bring on Casemiro instead of Christian Eriksen, put him in the number 6 and put Kobe Mainoo into the number 8. A little bit more advanced up the field where he can get on the ball and start to create alongside Bruno Fernandes, especially when you're looking to go on and try and win the game. But again, I'm not going to hold that against Erik ten Hag. He obviously sees Casemiro a lot more than we do. So it's one that we can't really complain about. But on 88 minutes, he takes off Marcus Rashford and puts on Antony. And this one just completely threw me sideways, because you're 2-2 at Old Trafford. Are you giving up? Do you want to go on and win the game? You're taking off Marcus Rashford, who looked like one of our most dangerous players, even though, he's not up to the heights that he was last season. He was one of our most dangerous players. Antony hasn't created anything since he's got to Manchester United. So you're bringing him on with 3 minutes to go, trying to get a goal to win the game. It just baffled me. It really, really did. Marcus Rashford is probably one of the fittest players at the club. He doesn't need to be brought off 3 minutes to go to be protected when you're going into, a 2-week break. You're trying to get a goal and win the game, and to bring on Antony, I just thought it was a really, really poor move out of Erik ten Hag. His in-game management does have to improve. If he keeps relying on the likes of Scott McTominay had a chance with 2 minutes to go, a header from 4 yards out. I mean, McDogg would have scored it. It's basics. Get up, head the ball down into the ground and get it on target. It's a goal. If Erik ten Hag continues to rely on the likes of Scott McTominay and the likes of Antony, he's going to get himself fired. He just is. We have to move on from these types of players, and your in-game management does have to improve. I want Erik ten Hag to succeed. I want him to be the manager, but his in-game management does have to improve. Number 3, style of play. Now, we've heard this statement, this phrase being thrown out an awful lot this season about Erik ten Hag's style of play and what is it, And I think we've seen what it was last season. And it's playing out from the back. It's transition football. Press the opponent high up the field. But we don't see any of that this season. And I understand that, injuries play a key role in the way you try and play football. I understand that. Martinez being out for the extended period of time, he's the key component here. And we see when he came on last night, Spurs danger level basically was non-existent as soon as Martinez came onto the field. We look comfortable. He played a ball out from the back, and we went from back to front in one pass. And I just kind of went, oh yeah, it is possible. You know what I mean? And Martinez is vital when it comes to that type of play. Luke Shaw is another one. And of course, Casemiro as well. But the style of play that Erik ten Hag has, or did maybe play last season, has completely gone out the window with a few injuries. Now, if we're comparing to Spurs last night, we know exactly the style of play that Postecoglou has brought to Spurs. And he's developed it in 6 months. Now, I think Erik ten Hag in the first 6 months of Manchester United did develop the same style, not the same style, but the same levels of his identity of play. But Spurs have got injuries now. and their style of play doesn't change. Why is that the case with Manchester United? Is it a lack of consistency on the training ground? Is it a confidence issue within the players to not be able to do it? Is it just basically a quality issue where you've got players that are not able to do it? I'm not sure. But we don't seem to have a style of play to revert to when the players are not available. Are we a pressing team? Are we a possession-based team? Are we a counter-attacking team when, the players are not available? It seems to be a mismatch of everything. And it is a big concern. It really is. I do think when we get our players back, your Casemiros, your Martinez's, your Luke Shaws, and we got a full, plethora of players, I think we will see an improvement in it. But it is quite worrying that when you get one or two players out injured, that the style of play completely goes out the window. And I think that is something we do need to improve on. And number 5, players coming back. Can they make the difference? And that's what we're talking about here. Manchester United have been so poor this season, and they've been so poor in just basic fundamentals. Like, for example, last night, Garnacho picked up the ball with a few minutes to go for a throw-in, and someone ran past, I can't remember who it was, ran past the Spurs backline, and Garnacho thought he was offside and didn't throw it to him. And you're not offside from a throw. You can't be. Fundamentals, doing the basics right. We haven't been doing it this season. Now, is bringing back the likes of Lisandro Martinez, Casemiro, Luke Shaw, Mason Mount, Harry Maguire, whoever it may be who's out injured at the moment, is it going to make such a massive difference where we go from, being in 8th or 9th, wherever we are now, to going, oh, this is the Manchester United we know. These guys are, if they had these players all season fully fit, they'd be challenging for a title or challenging for top 4. I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. I really don't think so. I think the lack of consistency, the lack of the basics, the lack of the fundamentals that we're not getting right, I think that's so evident that 2 or 3 players, key players coming back, I don't think are going to make a huge difference. I really don't. I think it's going to be a struggle of a season. I think we need a massive summer transfer window where we clear out an awful lot of deadwood, and we have to buy players. We tried to get rid of a lot of players last season and it didn't work. Your Harry Maguire's, your Scott McTominay's, the list goes on and on. I think we need to cut our losses on the likes of Anthony and get him out of the club. I think we need to, maybe say to Christian Eriksen, it's time maybe to go. These types of players, maybe get rid of a right full back, one of the two, and try and get in, a real established right full to come in there. So yeah, I like 2 or 3 key players coming back. While it will make a difference, I don't think it's going to make the desired impact that we need to really probably go and challenge for top 4. Now, I hope I'm wrong on that one, but it is a concern. It is a concern. But look, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below on all of these points. And let me know any additional points that you may have as well. Please do smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. And I'll catch you on the next one.